and I'm leaving Melbourne today. This is the last chance for us to see Jeff showing us something. Okay. First of all, what are you going to show us today?
Well, Daniel, we've got From the Tree.
From the tree.
Yeah, and this is, we've been discussing for nearly 2 weeks now, violin and the timbre and the bow, timbre, etc. But today we're just talking about the tree and the instruments which the Australian Aboriginal people are very good at playing and unique to the world, really. Three different instruments from the tree. Yeah.
Okay, looking forward.
So I'll start perhaps with the simplest of all to play are the clapsticks, which we've got here, 5 different sorts. Now, during the winter here, where I'm sawing and chopping wood for many months to keep warm. Very cold here in the wintertime. So I like these. When I'm doing the firewood, I get a big branch of a tree and I'm cutting through for the firewood for the wood stove. And I think, oh, this will be a very nice set of clapsticks because this wood is very hard, got a good sound to it. So I'll just cut these to size and I'll just show you. Clapsticks are played by the Australian Aboriginal people. They are played by many other nationalities throughout the world, different forms of rhythm sticks. Now they all give a different sound. This is a fascinating, same with the violin, you've got different sounds from different violins. These clapsticks will give the sound like this. I'm holding it very delicately on the left hand so the fingers aren't round like that, so it'll choke the sound. So just on the fingertips, and I'm just going to strike it. Okay, if I pick up these two here, completely different sound. Now these I'm going to clean up and make them a bit rounder on the edges, just at the ends, just when I'm getting around to it. But these ones are
lower pitch.
And this one here, once again, completely different sound.
Even lower pitch.
Yeah.
So percussion instruments.
Absolutely. So these are the simplest for playing. Anybody can pick those up, and you might be playing a tune on the fiddle, or I might be playing a tune on the fiddle, or whatever, and you put in the rhythm. So another sound. More woody sound. Okay, and depends how hard you strike it, it'll give you a louder volume. So each set of clapsticks is completely different. Some will be slightly similar sound, but they're all different textures, and when I clean these up they'll be a bit smoother to hold, and we'll change the sound a little bit too. So that's the first part of the tree. This is from a dead tree, so you haven't actually cut the tree down to form the instrument. It is from a tree that has been dead for many years, it's dried out completely, and I'm cutting up for firewood, but then I will also select instruments from it as well. So the next part will probably, I'll go to the didgeridoo across here. I'll just select one. I'll bring it back over here. Didgeridoo, well-known instrument, Australian Aboriginal people, a beautiful instrument. I would urge anybody to try, or everybody, to try and play the didgeridoo. As you have looked at it a little bit while you've been here, and you're getting a bit of a good progress in your sound, which is wonderful. But the sound which you can get from the didgeridoo is to be made so that it's continually coming. Now, in the beginning, you can get a bit of sound, that improves, and then as you improve, you get stronger with the playing, but eventually you're trying to get a continuous sound, and this is by the circular breathing. And I'll go into that in a minute. But first I'll play this a bit and then point out a few other things which you can use to try and train to learn how to play didgeridoo. This is one from, didgeridoo is basically a Northern Australia instrument, even though it's played all over the world these days. But this one came from Northern Territory, so I'll put it onto the table here and just give you a little demonstration, and then we'll talk about the circular breathing, which is the main part of the playing. So you've got a continual drone sound coming all the time. So that one's pitched about a C, so that's sort of mid-range to lower. But you can, as I'm saying, we're talking about the tree. We've got the branches, clapsticks. This part is from either a branch of a tree or a small tree, the trunk of a small tree. This didgeridoo, and I won't play this one because it's got a couple of holes in it which I've got to locate, which is leaking a little bit, which reduces the beautiful sound of the instrument. But this one came from out there. The tree is just around the corner. I was doing some gardening last year, the year before, and there was ivy growing over this Wagelia tree, and I cut the ivy off, and then I cut the end of this because it was all rotten, and I noticed that it was hollow here. It was, I thought, hello, and this part was still in the ground. This was the bottom of the trunk of the tree, and there was 5 trunks coming from the one plant. So I got my saw and I cut it here, and I lifted it up like that, and then I looked there, and you can see that's hollow too, and I thought, you beauty, I've got a hollow trunk of a tree, in other words, a didgeridoo. And I started to play it in the garden, and Sonny was painting in her studio. She said, "You've got a didgeridoo?" I said, "Yeah, I just found it." "You found it?" I said, "Yeah, it's in the garden." But look at the texture of that. It is absolutely beautiful. And it does play, as I said, it doesn't play that well because of a couple of small holes in here. I've got to fill that up. And I'll fill that with the bee, you notice here they've got the beeswax, which I've put it around the mouthpiece to make it soft on the lips and to enclose the mouthpiece. It was a little bit too big for me, so I get more compression in the playing. So once I locate these holes in the trunk, I'll have another beautiful didgeridoo. So, okay. But if you can't find one in your garden, or if you can't locate one in a shop, you can, for practice, and just so you get your circular breathing going, you can use a cardboard tube. Now, I urge people to go from this to getting a nice Aboriginal didgeridoo like that one there. But just for practice and for ease of finding an instrument, you can use a cardboard tube about that size there. It's good for the mouth. You can use other piping as well, pipes, but this is a nice didgeridoo. I'll just show you. And put it on the table. And it plays perfectly well, and it's a good practice one to learn the circular breathing, which I'll go into in a minute. So, and just the final thing on this, the length of the didgeridoo is important for the sound. This will drop in pitch. This is a lower pitching didgeridoo. It's harder to play. When you're starting to learn, go for a shorter piece. You notice the difference in the length. Let's put them there. I'll put them in here like that. See, it's a lot shorter. This one's a lot harder to play. It takes more air, and you get a different type of you can't attack it as much. You can't get the real sudden, sharp changes in the rhythm. But I'll just let you hear this one. So that one takes more air, so not good for learning on. The original one I played, I'll just play one more time. This is about the middle. This is the one from North Australia. had a few animal sounds in that one. What I love about what we're discussing today is that these have come from the tree. You don't have to take down a living tree. These are from a tree that has died. It is firewood, yes, but also I'm turning the ones which I like into musical instruments. Didgeridoos are formed by white ants eating up through the trunk or the branch of a tree. Therefore, it's usually a dead tree. They might be starting on a living tree, but it eventually dies. And it's not really that much work for us human beings to do to have an instrument. In other words, it is the nature that's forming that instrument for us. In the case of the violin, of course, you are spending so long making the instrument from the tree, from the timber you've been sourcing from all over the world, and assembling the instrument. In this case, the instrument is assembled already. So what you've got to do is come along, find a tree. This is northern Australia usually because there's a lot more activity on the termites and the trees are probably a smaller growth rate than down here in Victoria. So you come along to a tree, tap it, and you can hear that it's hollow. So then take it down, the part you think is a good size, and clean the inside. Clean the inside. It might be a little bit still with bits of timber that should come out, they're loose, but here you can see, maybe a bit hard to see with the camera, but the termites have eaten up through the trunk of a tree, and they die in the sunshine, so they don't come out the side of the wood, they stay inside, eating, having their lunch and dinner, going down at night time into the soil. And so this is cleaned up down here, and maybe the top part, as I showed before, a bit of beeswax around there to make it softer on the lips and maybe a smaller size for more compression. This one could be changed a bit. I'll do that in the next few days perhaps, see that. And then it's cleaned up a bit and then decorated, as seen there. So you've got a naturally formed instrument. The same with the clapsticks. And thirdly, we'll get on to the gum leaf, which to me is the ultimate instrument because it is, these have been taken from a living tree just this morning next to my workshop, and I grow a particular tree there, it's a nice leaf. And the tree is not, destroyed. It is pruned a little bit. Take a few leaves off the tree. And this is the ultimate instrument so far as playing technique is concerned. Didgeridoo, most people get some sort of sound in the beginning, and eventually with time, like anything, it will come to a really strong, powerful sounding instrument. Same with the clapsticks, not difficult to play. But this is the one that fascinates me, and it goes back to all the violin talk and other instruments while you've been here with me and Sonny. Each leaf is different. Each tree is different. Some of these leaves here I won't be able to play because they're just too young and weak. Some might be too big for playing. Some might play okay, some will give a deep sound. Just depends on the leaf. So what I'll do is show you the technique of playing, and then maybe pick a different leaf here just to see how that plays. But gum leaf playing too, I was doing some playing didgeridoo many years ago, and somebody introduced me to gum leaf playing. I'd never heard of it before. And I found now that there are many countries in the world who do play leaf, but it is very, very popular, especially with Aboriginal people of Australia and white people like myself who have learnt to play. And back in the 30s and 40s, 50, 60, 70 years ago, there were bands of Aboriginal players that have 10 or 12 players, each with a gum leaf, playing a particular tune. Some would be playing harmony, some the same note, etc. But the instrument is so simple. You got a trillion instruments out there, and that's all very well, but to learn to play, this is the hard part. Most people can't get a sound from the leaf when they try. And then, if I'm doing a little workshop on gum leaf playing, somebody will get a sound. Like with the didgeridoo the other day, when you started playing it well, I get so excited because I know that's a great feeling to have. So, in a workshop, I'll select a good leaf for the people, and then they'll all start trying to produce a sound. Now, sound is something vibrating. In the case of violin, guitar, the string is vibrating. The air around it vibrates into the eardrum, vibrates, impulse to the brain. In this case, the leaf is going to vibrate, hopefully, once I select a nice leaf. And from that vibration, we get the sound, and then I've got to vary that pitch by blowing down or higher up on the leaf. So just to show you the start of getting a sound, and then I'll play a tune. But most people who play hold it on their bottom lip, like that, and then they blow across the top, making it vibrate. I usually hold it in one hand like that. Same thing, the leaf is curling over a bit, like that, and I've got to direct the air onto that to make it vibrate. As I said, most people hold it like that. I do one hand, so then I can mute the sound like that, like a harmonica player. But just to be, I'll just do one hand like this. I'll place that on the bottom lip, and I've got to ease the air onto the top of the leaf to make it vibrate. And I'll just get a sound going, and then we'll look at a tune in a minute. So here comes the sound. It's quite loud, so be aware. Okay, so I'm getting a sound there. I could turn it the other way and still get a sound. So I'm starting to vary the pitch a little bit. Now, this leaf, it's okay. I'll just start on the lowest note I can. I'll go up, and then we'll look at a tune. Struggling a little bit, so I'll just change the leaf. I was getting a sound, but there could be a more easily, like any instrument, some are easier to play, some respond very quickly, some are more difficult to play. No, just bear with me for a minute. Now this leaf is more flexible, but that will vary the quality of the sound. It won't be quite as good a sound, but it's a little bit easier to play. See, that's a lot more flexible. Yeah, so that's a bit easier, and the sound will vary too. Like these leaves I could put in a book and dry them for a couple of weeks and play it again. It would play a bit harder to play, the pitch will be higher, but the pitch will be much more truer, or not so truer, but a sweeter sound, a less sort of fuzzy sound. So every leaf would be different, and the way it's dried makes a difference in the pitch and the sound. Not the pitch, the sound. Alright, I'll do one more tune if I can find another leaf. Now some leaves can last for a while playing. This sort, because that's such a weaker leaf, it wouldn't last too long. It would last 5 minutes or so. I'll go back to this original leaf to see what I can do with this one. Okay. I played that tune on that living gum tree the other day, so I'll go to it. All right, try this one. And you can get all sorts of vibrato effects by, I use a technique with the hand. I'll take this hand away so you can see. I'll just hit a note here, and I just move the leaf up and down slightly, very gently. Okay, and it is a matter of directing the air over the top of the leaf to get that vibrating. That is quite a difficult thing to do. If you want to really learn, go to a tree. It doesn't have to be a gum tree. This is from a eucalypt, these ones, but it can be any sort of leaf, any sort of tree, where the leaf is fairly fine, but quite strong as well. So that's the main factors. Thinness, but strong. So that's probably it, I think. We've got the clapsticks, didgeridoo, gum leaf, all from the tree. The tree hasn't been destroyed, and it sets you a challenge. It's a real challenge. And I encourage anybody, to, especially didgeridoo, for their breathing. It can help build up muscles in the throat, cheek. And for this one, just a challenge for a musical instrument.
Okay, nice. Okay, let's play didgeridoo together.
You'd like to?
Yeah. Let's get the real thing.
The other day he was playing it very well, but because he hasn't done his homework, then it's not as easy. That's good. Nice sound.
Ah.
Good. That was a good lengthy sound.
Okay.
But he's got to work on that quick sniffing of the air.
Okay.
Snatching of the air. That's right.
That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and be part of the nature. That's the whole idea.
I think Sonny just rang them in.
Wow. A tree just falling off. They have to drive. Okay.